So a lot of people ask, why did you start the foundation? What were your plans, thought process? And to be very honest, I really had no specific plans. I knew we wanted to start a foundation, but I wasn't sure when, how, where. And we went to Zambia. We stayed at Royal Zambezi Lodge, and hopefully everybody saw that presentation earlier in the week. And we visited a village that was about 45 minutes from Royal Zambezi Lodge. And the image you're looking at right now is the only hospital in a radius of conservatively 50 to 100 miles. And this served as both a hospital, clinic, and yes, a maternity ward. So we were there with about 25 friends and family to celebrate Claire's 39th birthday. I'm being nice. And I looked at this, and we were all standing around, all of us taking pictures of this facility. And I said, you know what? The KAI Foundation is going to be founded right now. And I commit that we're going to build a facility that is clean and decent for these people, because it serves about 25,000 people in the surrounding area. So using this building as a motivation to get something done, we made that commitment. So move on there, Jessica. And I would say about 60 days after we got back, we formed the foundation and we broke ground with the help of Royal Zambezi Lodge. This project could never have moved forward without the support of Royal Zambezi Lodge. They helped provide manpower to get this done. They also contributed a lot of resources beyond manpower. They contributed money as well. More importantly, they made sure that every penny that was donated for this project went to the project. It took us almost a year from the time we started to get the building completed and get the necessary equipment to provide a proper service for those women who were pregnant and looking to give birth in a clean environment, not in that facility that you saw earlier, or worst case scenario, the majority of the women in this region give birth at home. So the building came close to completion. And when the building was completed, this is the finished product you see here. So I coordinated a visit to do the official ribbon cutting. It was coordinated with the sales meeting at Royal Zambezi Lodge. Someone had to go to the sales meeting, so I volunteered. So I figured I would go there, and they told me they were going to put a ribbon across the pillars there, and I'd cut a ribbon and that would be it. Well, we got in the vehicle at Royal Zambezi Lodge and we made the trek. And this is what I encountered. I mean, I was stunned. Everyone in the village, surrounding villages came, and the facility was supposed to be completed with the hospital beds and everything else. The truck actually pulled up as I was there with all of the beds and refrigerators and whatever else we ordered. And obviously the woman you see in the image to the right, that's Rosemary, our nurse who runs the facility. That was one of the two politicians who came out. And I can promise you, Zambia is no different than the United States or any other country. When there's something good happening, politicians come from nowhere and want to take all the credit, which was fine. It was fine. But you can see they set up a little dais and they invited the whole village, and they had food for all the villagers who were there. We had a little ribbon cutting, and I gave a little speech, which was a lot of fun. It was the most rewarding thing I think I've ever done in my life. It was very, very cool.
You can go to sleep at night knowing that you've helped so many people. But.
Yes. And you can see the truck to the left. That was one of the two trucks that delivered the stuff. And with all the people who came out for the ceremony, we had a lot of help to move the beds and everything off the trucks and then into the building. And it was very festive. I mean, they had music and all the villagers were dancing. It was quite an incredible experience. And in the speech that I gave, I made a commitment to the community that not only would we build this facility, which we said we would do, and we did, we would have an ongoing program to maintain the facility, to make sure that it's in the condition that it is when we built it, as it is today, and didn't deteriorate into what you saw in that very first image. You know, that was very depressing, and that's something I don't ever want to see there again. And this is baby Claire. Baby Claire is the very first child that was born at the maternity ward, named after my wife, Claire Kartagener. And then lo and behold, when the first boy was born, guess what they named the first boy? Little Henry. Now you can see here, this is a far cry from that little hut that you saw in the first image. That refrigerator in the background was donated by the University of Washington. There is a tour operator, Odysseys Unlimited, I'll give them a plug, who run programs to Royal Zambezi Lodge, and they take their guests to the maternity ward as part of the tour. And there was an alumni group from the University of Washington who saw the need, and they donated that refrigerator. I can tell you what I've learned. And here you see, the first year, there were 48 healthy babies born at the maternity ward. What I've learned from the KAI Foundation, I thought all of the things I've done work-wise were difficult in the course of my life, but there's no question the most difficult thing one can ever do is raising money for a nonprofit. And I've spoken to a lot of people who are involved in nonprofits, and they all agree. There are a lot of worthy organizations out there, and they're all striving to generate a stream of income so you can do things like we've done with the KAI Foundation. So the COVID period has been very challenging. We've been really unable to do any fundraisers, so raising money has been difficult. I will give a shout out to Virginia McKay, who is on this call, and she was kind enough to make a donation to the foundation today, to which I say thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you so much.
There's Rosemary. Without Rosemary, there would be no maternity ward. She works very, very hard. I will say I sent Rosemary, Claire and I sent Rosemary a donation by wire yesterday because her daughter wasn't able to go to her school because they didn't have the funds to pay for the school. So we paid for her next year of schooling.
That's so nice.
So that's the kind of stuff that we do with the foundation. And I couldn't go to a nicer person and harder working person than Rosemary. Claire and I went back there after the first year to see how things were going. And Rosemary tried to get the mothers of all the babies that were born in the first year to come meet with us, which was absolutely incredible. All of them were unable to make it because some live in villages very far away. And it's not like jumping in your car and going for a ride to go to the maternity ward. It's a long trek, but these are women who are nearby villages or live in Mugarameno. And we had an opportunity to spend some time with them.
So that leads me to ask, so the maternity ward, how far of a span does it cover for mothers in the area?
There are people who come there 25 to 50 miles away.
Okay.
It's a large area, an extremely large area. And I can say that there are all of the people who work at Royal Zambezi Lodge, which I said is about, call it 45 minutes away by vehicle or by boat. All of the people in that village who work at Royal live in this village, and their children were born in this maternity ward.
That's amazing.
which I thought was really cool.
It's really cool.
So everybody is connected to the facility. And these are the mothers with their children. And here is Claire and little Henry with Claire and Henry. They were the first two children, first female and the first male born at the facility. And sitting still in front of that original building, I thought it appropriate to take a picture there.
Definitely. And we've been reminded that the foundation also provided a motorcycle that is now used as an ambulance to bring women who live very far away to come to the maternity ward.
That must be a lot of fun being give birth and sitting on the back of a motorcycle. It beats walking, though.
Yeah, definitely.
It beats walking. And that was through the help of Royal Zambezi Lodge. And there's Rosemary in one of the delivery rooms. I'm very proud of the fact that it's very clean.
Mhm.
Well, we completed that project. And then the government said, well, thank you very much for completing that maternity ward. It's greatly appreciated by the village and the country of Zambia. And they said, if you build a house, we will relocate a doctor to the village to live there permanently and assist Rosemary. So that was a bit of a challenge. So we said, okay, we'll do it. And within 4 weeks of them saying that, we broke ground. And Claire and David and I went back to Mugarameno and stayed at Royal and watched as they broke ground, laid concrete. And I approved, and Claire and David, we approved the plans for the house, but lo and behold, the house turned out to be twice the size of what we approved. So if you look at this, you can see there's two entrances. So the plan is, the one side is for the doctor and the other side we're hoping to use for medical students here in the United States who are attending a medical school who want to go abroad and work for a month or so in between semesters. So we're talking to a couple of universities to partner with us on this kind of a project, which I think is pretty exciting.
Definitely.
And I communicated with Rosemary just a few days ago, and she gave us the latest count. So we have now delivered 216 babies at the maternity ward, 121 girls and 95 boys. So that's 216 children who would have been delivered either at home or in that godforsaken building
Mhm.
that you saw at the beginning.
It's amazing.
So
I have a question for you.
Yes.
What do the moms receive when they give birth at the maternity ward, other than the the safe care and delivery?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do the mothers receive anything else at the maternity ward?
Yeah, we try to give them a blanket. You see the blanket that the children have? And you see that little hat? And they get some cloth diapers. So we try to give them a little package. And it's actually a motivation when they go home with the hat and the blanket to keep the child warm. There are other mothers in villages, surrounding villages, who are not coming to the maternity ward for a variety of reasons. But when they see that the mother comes home with these nice things, that's a motivation for others to say, well, we're going to go to that village and we're going to give birth there.
Amazing.
So actually, I was supposed to lead a group in March of 2019 to the village. And it was a group of friends and donors to the foundation. We had 27 people traveling. And unfortunately, the trip was scheduled for March. So because of COVID, we canceled. We rescheduled the trip for March of 2020, which we canceled. And we're hoping a few of us, not the group, to travel in June, because we collected a lot of things for the mothers. I've got a garage full of clothes and hats and blankets, and we've got some medicine and other things. So yes, we're hoping to go in June, and I'm rescheduling the trip that was canceled twice. So in April of 2022, I will be leading a group to visit Royal Zambezi Lodge and obviously the maternity ward. And Royal Zambezi Lodge, being a partner, has given us a great rate to make it very affordable for people to come and visit. So we stay 5 days at Royal Zambezi Lodge with a visit to the maternity ward and then onwards on the itinerary. So if anybody out there listening has any interest in joining Claire and I in leading a group, you're welcome to join us. We'll probably produce a flyer. Jessica, you're willing to go anywhere.
This is true.
But we'll be sending out an itinerary probably in the next 2 to 3 months for the April 2022 trip.
Definitely. Well, that's it for the maternity ward for now, unless anyone has questions. We'll switch it up a little bit and talk about a different KAI Foundation effort that we did this past July. This past year has obviously been tough for us, but it has also greatly impacted some of the world's most endangered species. This is Rafiki, and he lost his life due to a poaching incident. The anti-poaching units operated by Uganda Wildlife Authority depend on the incoming tourism dollars to fund their efforts to stop the killing of Uganda's wildlife. And due to the decrease in funding, the UWA patrols are operating at a much smaller scale. And we were terribly saddened by this unnecessary loss of life. I can't speak today. So the KAI Foundation immediately decided to take action, and we partnered with our friends at Care for Rangers and Africa Wild Explorations to help raise funds to support Uganda's anti-poaching efforts. We raffled off 2 gorilla trekking permits and raised over $7,500 through this initiative. So again, this is just another way that the KAI Foundation does give back to the communities that we operate with our partners in. And moving on from there.
People have asked us, what is our next project going to be? So Africa was clearly the place for our first initiative, since that's the roots for KAI. But our footprint now is somewhat global, and our footprint in Asia is equally as large as the footprint we have in Africa. So Asia seems the place to be. David was on a trip, I guess 18 months, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, September 2019, I think.
There you go. And he was in Cambodia, in Siem Reap, where we do a lot of work. And he visited the Maybone Primary School. And looking at this image, seeing 4 children at a desk, it's obvious what some of their needs are. So we made a commitment to that school that our next project would be there, so we could build another room, so we could have hopefully 1 child at a desk, worst case 2, but 1 is our goal. Lack of drinking water is a problem there, so they do get a lot of rain, as you well know, so we're gonna put gutters in so we can collect the rainwater. And there's lots of other things that school could use. And there's Katie and David. I hope they pass the class. So we were supposed to break ground there about a year ago, and then COVID hit, so that didn't happen. We've been in communication with our partners, Destination Asia, who will be assisting us. Anything we do moving forward will be in partnership with someone local on the ground. And the reason is pretty simple. We've seen too many good initiatives, well-intended around the world, that without proper supervision and management, the funds just dissipate. You just don't know where they go. So by having Destination Asia, who is our partner in Asia, look after the construction, we know that every penny that we spend will go where it's intended. So we're hoping that this project will start within the next 6 months. Again, COVID has held it up, and either David or I will probably be making a trip there in the not too distant future. when conditions permit, and we'll get this thing moving forward. But at the end of the day, to do all of these things, we need support. KAI has contributed a considerable sum of money over the last 4 years to make these things move forward. And we've had great support from the travel industry. But if you visit our website, kaifoundation.net, you have the ability to make a donation. Any donation is great, even $1. Whatever you can afford would be greatly appreciated. It will go to great use.
Definitely.
And with that, I want to thank all of you who have supported the KAI Foundation, and those of you who've supported KAI and all of our clients. Without your support, we wouldn't have been able to create a foundation.